So, Gary, do you need us to do a clap?
No, we don't have to.
No.
Okay.
He said before we don't need to do it. It's
oh,
purely
right.
for our
You're
entertainment.
So right. Okay.
It's pre-show ritual now.
It really is. Which, there's the first bit of the after show is that the clap is completely, it's just aesthetic.
Yeah.
But we were just about to touch base with what would be the first thing or what would be the milestone we try to reach when we're trying to get together in person for the first time, because as people may or may not know, QWERTYcast has never actually met in person. We've always been virtual, except for, as a group, QWERTYcast has never met in person.
Oh, yeah, QWERTYcast has never. Kenny is like the tie between us all. He's the link between all of us. He's the center of it. And then it branches out of, Dave's met these people. Andres has met these people.
Mm-hmm. And it was just a little history lesson. So it was Kenny and I knew each other from college. He started dating a close friend of mine, and then after they stopped dating, we stayed friends. We started living together.
Oh, I didn't know that was the lore.
Yeah, and I won't mention too much because whatever. But so that's how Kenny and I met, because he transferred into film. I was in TV, and then he started hanging out with all my friends because of those situations. And then he met you, Dave, before we started living together. And I remember when we started living together, you guys at some point had tried doing stuff for your podcast or your YouTube channel at the time, and his as well.
Mm-hmm. Insert coin.
Yeah, and Played on Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And which Kenny made with Tyler. And then later down the line, Played on Sleep, Insert Coin didn't really have traction. And so you guys moved on, did your own things. Kenny and I never stopped being friends. Yeah, well, I'm being kind. And then I know that, actually, I don't know how Tyler met you, Steve, but I know that Tyler, when we started QWERTYcast, and I wish I could bring this up right now because I actually found the original message I sent to Kenny. No, the original message he sent to me asking, do you want to do a podcast about indie games? And we were throwing who we would want to invite in, blah, blah, blah. And one of the first names was Tyler, who had started the Diet Clan server, or co-started. And then he said no, but he said my friend Steve would be interested. Mm-hmm. And I never actually asked you about that conversation.
So me, Tyler, and Scott had been working on, we had just completed a, oh man, I'm going to forget the name now. It's one of those rush to development.
Like Game Jam?
Thank you. Phew, it's terrible that I didn't think of that. But we just completed. We had just completed the game jam. But so I met Tyler through Scott, who I think was one of the original co-founders of the Diet Group. Mm-hmm. We had actually gone to the same high school together, and so there was a friend group connection. And it just ended up being that we ended up on the same Discord server and just kind of kicked it off. Tyler and Scott went to the same school together, so of course through that, then me and Tyler met each other. Me and Tyler kicked it off. I love him. He's a fantastic individual. Yes. But I guess so it was the three of us started touring our games, and we're also showing off Smash Rockets, which Tyler did a large amount of the artwork for. And they basically brought me in to be kind of the spokesperson at events, because they know that I have a little bit of a charisma skill when it comes to just quickly explaining things, saying, get your ass in here, grab a controller, play a game. So I guess when Kenny had reached out to them, they felt like their time was too constrained, but they knew that when it came to conversation and speaking and talking, that I was pretty good at it, so they pitched my name. So Kenny sent me a message. I think it was literally 5 minutes after both Scott and Tyler, of their own accord, said, hey, we've heard from Kenny that he was starting a podcast, and we gave him your name. So within a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, I had 3 people saying, hey, we're starting this new thing, and your name came up. And I'm glad I said yes, because this has been a lot of fun. But that's kind of how that connection started.
Mm-hmm. While you were away, actually, Andres and I talked about how happy we are that you're part of it, and the perspective that you bring, and the knowledge that you bring to it.
It's good. So I was saying, I think this was before you had showed up, that there's a sentimental aspect to this, but one of the things that I appreciate is that I see all of your perspectives, which is totally different than mine, and that is awesome, because that means that I get to kind of hear how you attack certain concepts and the things that you take away from them, and that really helps us kind of
attack.
Yeah, because that's all we're doing here is we're attacking.
That's certainly all I do.
But it's good because that kind of makes us all better, thinkers and gamers, and so it's good.
It challenges your perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So I guess obviously I want to throw in there that Cam was also one of our main first people, and Kenny and I know Cam from college as well. So it's all these college connections. I remember when I lived with Kenny running into Dave a handful of times and then feeling like, oh, I'm not going to put that much effort into getting to know this person that I'm maybe going to see once every 2 months or something. And lo and behold, years later, like, we're thick as thieves. But
I was so real quick with the college thing, I think we've talked about this before, but is it Drexel? Is that the... Okay.
Drexel.
Yes. So I feel like every time we talk about this and we talk about like where people met, Drexel is like the hotbed for just all of these friend connections.
Yeah.
I was like 50 miles southeast at Rowan University by myself, no friends. So I'm glad that the Drexel thing happened.
I grew up near Rowan.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm rethinking. I guess I should have gone to Drexel too. That would have made everything perfect.
I mean,
I almost went to Rowan. I had a full scholarship offer.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Well, it wasn't an offer. I was part of the STARS program, so I could have gone to any public school in New Jersey. For free.
Nice.
But I instead chose to get heavily into debt to study the business of music.
Nice. I mean,
don't trigger me.
Make your choices.
But actually, my wife grew up in Pittman, so
okay, yeah,
right there. Several of my friends went to Rowan for college. So I actually, that whole area very familiar to me. I grew up. I went to the Winslow School District. So,
yeah. Wow, so we're all very regionally centered,
except for Joe, who came in Atlanta through work, which was Battle and Brew.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it, and then I was like, should I not say it? But they stream on Twitch, so they're fine.
Also,
we mentioned.
Thanks, one Patreon subscriber for watching this. We doxed Joe's work location.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go after.
Hopefully, Joe can also join us. I know if like Kenny and Joe both come up from Atlanta, maybe they can do it together.
Yeah, that's what we were saying was we gotta do like a LAN round table.
Yeah, that's where where are we gonna meet up?
That was where this discussion started.
So
the question is, where's the first QWERTY office? Yeah,
exactly.
I think that it should be at
the penthouse suite at the Hilton,
at the Donald Trump Hotel,
at the Four Seasons.
Damn it!
Oh man, Four Seasons landscaping. We'll just throw a table out in there.
Oh
good.
God.
Yeah. I like it.
I also do want to point out that I was not initially part of this podcast. So you guys were talking about like the founding of the podcast. I actually joined afterward, and I'm very thankful that you guys asked me to do it because I've always had a passion for doing these types of projects, but I don't have any technical know-how of anything other than a little bit of audio. But I can't do anything video related, and I am very poorly self-motivated and very poor. So that statement still works. But
same but vegan.
Same but vegan.
Yeah, I don't use that catchphrase enough.
I love it.
It's a good one.
I will use it all the time. I want to, and I stop myself because it's yours.
There's a place here I need to tell you about. And it's this dude who makes all this different vegan food. He's open 24/7, but it's basically if I'm home, I'll cook for you. Just tell me what you want to eat, essentially. But he's got like a 5-page menu. We just tried it yesterday for the first time. Spent $46. We got chili with chips, which were titled nachos, but delicious. A double cheeseburger, a chicken fried steak, 2 servings of mac and cheese, 2 servings of mashed potatoes, a serving of buffalo wings, and I can't remember if I'm missing anything else, but all that food, $46, and
that's insane.
Mostly all phenomenal. There was
That's
a
awesome.
couple of things where I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but otherwise, delish dish. I just had to throw that out there. I know that's not relevant to the conversation.
It's fantastic.
But it is relevant to the vegan part.
I grew up like landscaping with my dad, and because we're Guatemalan, like we were close with that community that lived in Long Island, and I remember we would normally get lunch actually prepped by the woman who owned the house that the guys that we were working with lived in. So like a lot of times, you know, people will immigrate and then just live with people they already know who are there, or their family who might already be there. So like there'd be a lot of people that we worked with, we would pick up in the morning, and the house that they lived in, those people would make them lunch. And then we would say, hey, can we throw you some extra dollars and you make 2 more meals? We'll leave you our lunch boxes the night before and you fill that up. Those were some of the best meals I've ever had in my life. And I couldn't, and obviously it would never be like FDA approved or whatever, but I will never forget the meatballs that I had those lunch times. They would still be warm. You would have fresh bread, like, and I just love that experience. Felt. Exactly.
It was like literally this dude just home cooked a meal for me and I gave him money, and that was amazing. Like I loved that feeling of going there and just and like we chatted for like a few minutes. I didn't want to chat too long because Shona was sitting in the car waiting for me. But
did you
really
nice
dude
down
was like,
her?
oh, and like you didn't request this, but like I threw it in because like it technically is supposed to come with this. And I was like, oh, all right, sure.
That's awesome. I want to tell a story like in the same vein of like Andres, but from the perspective of my life. So I grew up an average child in an average family, and every day for lunch I had processed cheese and meats.
Right, you're a white kid from South Jersey. I got you. I'm there. I'm with you.
So like, you know, you tell these stories about like this authentic Guatemalan like meals, and you know, there's a level of envy associated with that because I'm thinking back to like single wrapped cheese slices from the supermarket.
Not to say I didn't have those. It was just and you say authentic Guatemalan meal, it's like it's just a woman cooking her own food and making
that's
more
authentic,
of it.
you know. But no,
it's like this home cooked very. And my mom's mom is Italian. She cooked like, and she didn't really cook until she got married. I learned this about her like a few years ago, and every few conversations we have, she reminds me of it. And so she has like those home cooked meal, or had those home cooked meals. I grew up with my grandmom who couldn't cook at all and would be like, all right, here's your grilled cheese, eat it or don't eat it. I don't care. But then when I was older, I started going to my mom's all the time after school, and she would cook like these huge, like big to-do meals. Like, so I have a little bit of both of your experiences.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's funny because the original topic I wanted to talk about in the after show was going to be coffee. Because when we were prepping to start today, we were talking a lot about coffee. And I remember Dave and Gary talking about 7-Eleven coffee. And just thinking, like, I wanted to mention that. Oh, nice. Good press. I wanted to mention that it's always interesting to me because I wait for a family member to go to Guatemala and buy coffee from a relative. Like I have an aunt who I think has a neighbor who has a coffee plants,
connection.
You know, whatever. Yeah. We literally just get it from a person and we pay like so little. I think I paid $4 for a bag. And meanwhile here, a Guatemalan thing of coffee is like $15-$20. So it's just funny that
single origin.
Yeah, and fair trade. And by default the stuff I get is all of that. But I just spend 20% of the year drinking amazing coffee, and then the other 80% being a reluctant coffee drinker because I have to wait until I can get more real Guatemalan beans.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you guys, this is like a common topic with actually almost all of my Discord groups. Everybody that is in the groups that I'm part of are like these crazy coffee professionals, and they know so much about coffee. And like you have a French press, Dave. Like if that existed in my house, I would be shocked. But it's just it's crazy.
I have a French press, and you missed the part where actually my preferred method is a percolator, which is even more involved.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. See, like my thing is, and this is probably like blasphemy, right? But like my company has the equivalent of like a Keurig system. I think it's slightly fancier than that. But they have a specific cup that is like hazelnut flavor. I drink that black. I don't do anything to it. And that is the extent of my coffee experience. And the only purpose behind that is for slight energy boost and bowel stimulation. Outside of that, like I couldn't care. I don't know the differences. I don't know the origination of the beans. I don't know how many different types of beans there are. I don't know if it's organic or free range or like I don't know.
What kind of bean are you?
Yeah, I'm just a bean sparrow.
Oh, okay. Fair trade.
Fair trade. Yeah. But no, it's something that like I totally respect the knowledge that you guys actually have of it, and I would never knock it. And it kind of like inspires me to want to know that much, but at the same time, like, man, there is like so many things. Like I don't think I can add coffee.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not even knowledge coming from me. It's just like by default, I like accidentally ended up with just really good beans because of the nature of who, like my family and where I can get stuff from. And most of the year, reluctant coffee drinker, I go to my office at work before COVID, go to the office at work, pull out the fucking packet that's hazelnut or just Colombian roast, and you stick it in there and you drink it black because I used to have to put in so much sugar and so much milk, but I had a roommate in my sophomore year of college who started showing me how to do Chemex, and I had my first cup of like slow drip coffee tasted like full bodied and sweet, and it was completely black, and I was so surprised by that because I'd never been able to drink black coffee because it was always 7-Eleven. I didn't grow up with Wawa, and so like most of the coffee I drank growing up was 7-Eleven full of sugar.
I'm looking up a place really quick.
I just don't know shit about coffee. I just end up with good beans, basically.
Well, hey, I mean, that's a good situation. So at least you have the foundation to become the coffee extraordinaire.
Yeah, but I do recognize when something's super shitty, and I'm like, oh, this isn't real.
In Philly, the place that you need to go, Andres, if you want to, I mean, and understand that it's an indulgence because like it's expensive.
Yeah.
You have to go to Ray's Cafe if you've never done it. It's in Chinatown.
Okay.
It's a cafe and tea house, but like it's that same thing. And also, I think that they might be closed permanently now, but if they're not, check out Random Tea Room.
I've heard of Random Tea Room. But yeah, I will.
I think it's called Random Tea Room. Yes. The Random Tea Room and Curiosity Shop. And I don't know if they're still open. If they are still open, you also have to go there because those are like two of my favorite places. That's in like the No Libs area.
Did you ever go to Avril 27 or Avril 30, whatever it was called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
There's like this small shop in West that sells like just a lot of tobacco, coffee, and tea products that you would feel are not normally found in like a regular convenience store. And I mean, it always feels super pretentious going in there, but it is just like where I might find something more unique.
And that's how going into the Random Tea Room felt for me, was like super pretentious. And then Ray's was similar, though it just felt like very, very inviting and warm and homey, both of them, but at the same time pretentious, because no joke, the most expensive cup of coffee at Ray's, it's Ray's Cafe siphon coffee is a certain type of method, $11 for a cup of it.
Yeah.
But it's like a very specific origin. They tell you a lot about it, like in the description of it. Phenomenal. And like, it's hard to think back to the experience because it's been so long, but it is one of those things where like you try a phenomenal cup of coffee and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, like
it's like a good cup of whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. And your description of the Chemex experience is that like experience for me. It's like, oh shit. It's the same thing with tea. If you've never had white tea properly brewed and like steeped and everything, white tea is the most subtle thing that you can do because it's basically water. It's very, very light. But you can change the amount of time that you've concentrated it for before it gets too bitter. But the notes of flavor that you get from properly brewed coffee, properly brewed tea, and everything is just a world of difference from buying Folgers or from buying Lipton or whatever, you know?
Yeah. One of the dieters, we were out in Philly. I think it was actually during the Global Game Jam. Took me to a coffee shop in Philly. And so like, I'll start by saying I got a cold brew and I do recognize the difference. It was very good drink. But let me set the scene because I feel like this is the case for a lot of these places. And you talk about like Yeah, good.
Really quick. Cold brew usually uses lower quality beans because you can get them cheaper in bulk, the lower quality beans, and that's why they're used for cold brew. Go ahead.
But so to talk about like the pretentiousness of the coffee shop. So you're starting outside. It was like winter, concrete's everywhere. It's Philly street, right? The second you open this door, you notice that everything inside is wood. The lights are slightly dimmed relative to the outside street. There are terrariums hanging from every single spot that you could possibly imagine hanging a terrarium. The wall is not a wall. It is a continuous bookshelf from one end of the room to the other. There are tables that are small because the expectation is that they will only be inhabited by a single individual with a laptop of the 14-inch or smaller variety, usually working on the screenplay with a pair of glasses.
Usually a MacBook.
Yes. and the line is out the door of just people who the only thing they want to talk about is the coffee that they are about to consume. And so like I recognize that like
Horseman skit.
This is all of the signs of a good coffee shop, but it's also, to me, an outsider looking in, is like, why have we gotten to this point in culture? Have we devolved this much?
But that's all the signs of a pretentious coffee shop.
Well, yeah.
Go to fucking Chinatown. Go to Ray's Cafe. I mean, obviously not right now because of the pandemic, but go there. I had never, I've gone past that place so many times when I lived in Philly, never seen a line there. I walked in there and almost every table was empty. But it is one of the best places to get coffee in the entire city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I can respect that.
Just a cultural thing, though, of like white people have to make it exclusive.
Yeah, right.
The last thing I'll even say on that is it reminds me a lot of what my sister would tell me is like a huge difference between East Coast and West Coast. Is that like with LA? Oh God, right. I'm talking to the choir. So she would tell me that it's actually incredibly hard to find a genuine good review of a food or drink place because all of the reviews are about the aesthetic and the experience and not the actual quality of the food and drink. And so when you go to these 5-star places, it's just, whoa, what an atmosphere. And then you're just like,
God.
What the fuck is this?
It totally is that. It's the fucking worst. That's the thing that I miss the least about Los Angeles is like just this, oh my God, this obsession with the aesthetic and the appeal, the superficial aspect of something rather than actually fucking caring about what you're eating, drinking, doing, whatever. It's all I will tell this story to everybody that I meet about like when I first moved to Los Angeles, there was one person at my office who was like, oh yeah, I'm doing a juice cleanse or whatever it was. And like by the next week, there were 10 fucking people doing it. No joke. And you're just like, you guys are all insane. Like just, you talk about the word sheep and it's always used as like a dumb, like oversimplified, kind of tongue in cheek thing. But like literally just like, oh, this person is doing a juice cleanse. I guess I'll do one too. And you're just like, oh my, shut the fuck up.
I want to start a like mock company that uses like a bot system where we teach it to write reviews in the format of like this aesthetic conversation, but I want to exclusively post those reviews on Chinese buffets on the East Coast.
Yeah. This place has a very rustic feel to it, super authentic.
Yeah.
I felt very taken care of by the atmosphere.
I think we should do it.
It's like I was in somebody's living room with a buffet tray.
Yeah.
There are certain places, and I guess it's not super surprising that Austin is described this way a lot of times as like the new LA, but like they both have this obsession with standing in lines. Like LA, like if you go somewhere and you're not waiting in line, that place sucks. That place is fucking trash. And apparently it's the same thing in Austin. Like if you don't have for brunch, if you don't have like a 2-hour wait at least for getting to sit down and order your food, then you might as well have not even gone. Like that's the experience.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's all right. It's bizarre. It baffles me.
It's crazy.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for giving me such a good heated coffee discussion, among other things.
I see what you did there.
This is Qwerty Cast After Show. We're gonna keep doing more of these. I really like this format, and we'll just see where it goes. So
bring a cup of coffee next time.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Or I just won't finish it while recording the first episode.
I've refilled. That was my third cup.
Nice.
So
your third perk. Oh wait, no, you have the press.
Yeah, I got the press. I bought this one specifically because it's got a removable glass bit.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So then you can just wash this part and you don't have to deal with like fumbling it around and everything. Very, very fancy.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm glad we could get this done early.
Yeah,
I hope you guys enjoy it, and I love that we got this done early. Though I did hate it as I woke up.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I was like awake at before 1 p.m. on a Sunday, but I guess I'll go take a walk or something.
Yeah, I'm about to go to Target. So
cool. Nice. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Love y'all.
Later.
See you.
Qwerty cast out.